Friends, welcome to my channel. Before listening to this story, I will ask you to like and subscribe. It's not difficult for you, but it's nice for me, and we're starting. It was Monday morning and we were sitting at the kitchen table. We finished breakfast, I drank my coffee and read the morning newspaper. My wife, Bea, said, "Could you put the paper down, Rob? I need to talk to you." I put the newspaper on the table. "I'm leaving you, Rob. I want to get a divorce. Is that all?" I picked up the newspaper again and started reading the sports section. "I'm serious, Rob." I ignored her and she got flustered. "Damn it, Rob. Put down the damn newspaper and talk to me." "About what?" "I have nothing to say but goodbye. It's not such a big loss. Anyway, you haven't been worth a damn as a wife for over a year. So go ahead." I put down the newspaper, got up, and went to the room I used as a home office. I took a notebook and pen from my desk and took an envelope out of one of the drawers. I went back to the kitchen table, sat down, and wrote on the top sheet of my notebook, "Tom, thank you, thank you, thank you, and thank God she's leaving me." I was about to put it in an envelope, but then a thought occurred to me. I took one of the lottery tickets I bought the night before out of my wallet and put it in an envelope. Then I added to my note, "Maybe if you're lucky and you win, it will be enough for the cheater to be satisfied with you, and she won't go out and cheat anymore. Good luck, dude. You're going to need this." I signed up Very Grateful Rob. I folded the sheet, put it in an envelope, sealed it, addressed it, and handed it to Beatrice. "When you see him, give him this." She took it and with a shocked expression on her face said, "Do you know? Just because you think I'm ignorant doesn't mean that's really the case." "I think," I said, taking the envelope from her, "I'll mail it. I don't believe that you won't open it, read it, and then throw it away. Now why don't you go pack your things and get the hell out of my life? And since you're about to leave, you need to get out of the house as soon as possible. I'm sure I won't leave. There's no way I'm leaving here just so you can put your lover here." I got up, poured coffee into a travel mug, topped it up, and went to work. On the way, I stopped by the bank, closed my savings and checking accounts, and took the contents of our safe. Then I went to the bank closer to work and opened new accounts in my name only. Next, I called and canceled all our joint credit cards and arranged for new cards in my name only. And after that, I went about my daily work. I stayed late after work, had dinner and a drink with my executive assistant, and told her that I was back at the market if her sister was still interested. Stella laughed and said, "To hell with my sister. If you're free again, I want to be first in line." Stella started with me as a secretary 10 years ago and proved so valuable that 4 years ago I promoted her to my assistant. And then, to justify the promotion I thought she deserved, I made her my executive assistant. 2 years ago, on a Sunday, I had a barbecue in the backyard and invited Stella. She told me that she couldn't come because her sister was visiting in the city, and I suggested that she take her sister with her. Her sister Tara was a beautiful-looking and very busty blonde, and on Monday, Stella laughingly told me that Tara had a crush on me. I laughed and told her never to tell Bea about it because Bea could be, and sometimes was, insanely jealous. And now Stella is telling me that she is interested in me? I never had any idea that she could have such thoughts. "Okay," I said jokingly. "Then Tara goes to the second place and you can take the first. I'm not joking at all, boss. I'm damn serious. I want to try it." "Stella, but you may not agree when you hear what I have to offer." "What is it exactly?" "Bea told me she wants a divorce, so I leave it up to her and her lover, and I have no idea what their schedule might be." "Her lover?" "She slept with a guy about a year and a half ago, and I think she finally decided that a couple days a week with him wasn't enough, so she decided to switch to full-time." "How long have you known?" "A year and a half. I've known this almost since the day it started." "How did it happen?" "My friend saw her enter the motel room with a man and called me. I assigned Bea a private investigator for a week, and he got me everything I needed to know." "A year and a half, and you haven't done anything about it?" "What was to be done? Get mad about it and turn my life upside down. In this state, divorce is without fault. Everything would have to be split in half and I would have to sell the house and split the proceeds with her. I would have to give up the pool, the hot tub, my woodworking workshop, and the 3-car garage and move into an apartment somewhere. No thanks. I decided to just ignore it and let her cook for me, do the laundry, and clean the house." "How could you be around her knowing that she was cheating on you?" "You'd be surprised how quickly love can turn into hate, and then hate turns into indifference. I can't believe that a healthy guy like you could go a year and a half without love." Why not without love? While B was offering, I took it and she continued, although the frequency dropped slightly. I didn't touch her in the days when I knew she was with him, but other than that, the only change was that I stopped making love and started just making love. Do you have any idea why she did it? I have no idea, but he probably wasn't the first. Do you think she had other lovers? I can't know for sure, but what I do know is that in the 10 years that we've been married, she's been in a certain mood 4 times as far as I can remember. 4 times she behaved the way she had behaved for the last year and a half, as she got involved with this guy. This is just a guess on my part, but I would almost bet that other times it was for the same reason. If she hadn't been seen and I hadn't been warned, I would have taken the recent mood as another one of those feminine tricks. I may be wrong in my thoughts, but it doesn't really matter. I certainly know about this cheating, and that's all I need to know to understand that she's a cheater. What are you going to do now? Wait. What? To see what she's going to do. She's on her own now. I cleaned out her bank accounts, canceled all her credit cards, and told her to get out of the house. She wanted a divorce, so I'm leaving it up to her. Since she does not earn enough to support herself and still be able to pay a lawyer, she will have to get money for a lawyer from her lover, and I do not know if he will give it to her. I assume they discussed it before she hit me with it, but I have no way of knowing. I mean, if you're really interested in me, you'll be involved with a married man who has no idea how long it will take before he gets divorced. You're thinking the wrong way, Rob. How is that? If she files for divorce, she's in control. You will be served, and it may be bad. You have no idea what she can do. They can order the house to be vacated and left to her pending a hearing. What if she files a complaint and says it's because of mental and physical abuse, and gets a restraining order keeping you away from her and from home? You have to set the pace, boss. You should be in the driver's seat. Make her react, not the other way around. Besides, you're going to help me a lot. Will I help you? How? If you're going to wait and let her apply, what if she doesn't? What if her lover doesn't give her the money for it? This will put us in a position of adultery, and she can use it against you somewhere in the future. You say she cheated and she says, so what? You too. If you submit an application, you declare that from your point of view the marriage is dissolved, and what you do from that moment does not concern her. From a strictly legal point of view, you will still be legally married until the divorce is final, and an affair with me will technically still be considered adultery. But no court will use this against you unless it starts before you filed for divorce from B. So apparently, I need to stay away from you until you or B start acting legally. If we wait for her, it may take years or maybe just a week, but under her control. If you file the paperwork, you can meet with a lawyer early tomorrow and serve B by Thursday, and that will give me the weekend to work on picking you up. Pick me up? I'm being damn honest, boss. What good is being at the top of the list if you don't take advantage of it? She was right, and I knew it. So I took out my cell phone and used speed dial to call Josh. Josh and I have been friends since the 3rd grade, and Josh was a lawyer who practiced family law. Family law was a polite term for divorce law. When he answered, I told him that I needed his legal services, and I told him about my problem. He was sorry to hear that because he and his wife Sally were our friends, and he liked B, but he told me he would take care of it as soon as he got to his office in the morning, and then asked me to come over at lunchtime. I can sign the papers and we can go have lunch. Then, just to be an asshole, I told him I wanted to get a restraining order. I lied and told him that B had told me that if I caused her any problems because she left me, she would make sure that her lover, Tom Noble, would set my mind straight. Josh laughed and told me that he knew it was pure horseshit, but that he would do it. You know that there will be a hearing on this order within 10 days, right? I can get it and hand it over, but there has to be a hearing before the judge orders it to stand. I know, and I'm ready for it, but right now the main thing is to get her out of the house and keep her out for a while. We don't have children, so she has no real reason to use the house while the divorce is going on. I adhere to the principle of owning a gun is owning the law. There's no reason for the judge to order me to come out and let her in. That's what I'm aiming for. I told her to get out when we talked this morning, but I do not know what I will see when I get home. She may leave or she may be there. Since I do not know for sure where she will be, I plan to serve her at work. Is there any chance that you will agree on something with her? None at all. Then I'll see you tomorrow. I hung up, looked across the table at Stella and asked, "What have you planned for me this weekend?" She outlined her ideas and they seemed pretty good to me. When I got home, B was sitting at the kitchen table sorting through some papers. "Why are you still here?" I asked, going to the refrigerator and taking out a beer. "This is my house too. I will stay here until I can take other measures. If you object to my company, feel free to move out." "And let you bring your lover here? Not for anything in your fucking life. Sit down and discuss what we're going to do." "We have nothing to discuss. I know what I'm going to do, and I don't care what you're going to do." "There are things that need to be worked out, Rob." "No, Beatrice, there are no such questions. It's simple. You said you wanted a divorce, so go get it. You should hire a lawyer. You have to file the paperwork and pay all the legal fees. What I'm going to do is fight you tooth and nail for every little thing. We live in a state where there is no guilt. Everything is divided in half, so you have to make decisions about who gets what as their half. I'm going to stall for time so that your lawyer's fees keep going up and up. You know they don't work for free, right? Do you want a coffee table? Well, you know what? I want this too. Do you want a sofa? I'm sorry, B. It has great sentimental value to me, and I just have to have it. What's the big deal? You don't care about any of this. You didn't even show emotion when I told you I wanted a divorce. All you did was tell me to pack up and get out. That was before I had time to think about it. I looked into her eyes and took a chance. I let you get away with it the first 3 times because you didn't want a divorce. I loved you enough to keep quiet and hold you, because you still came back to me. She turned away from me when I said the first 3 times, which, as far as I could tell, confirmed what I suspected. Now it's hard for me to say why I stayed with you, but I didn't get divorced. I thought maybe I did something that really angered you, and you felt you had to do it to get back at me. You ended up ending your affairs, and I foolishly thought it was because you knew you loved me and that's why you came back to me. I looked down at the floor, and yes, shit was already on my shoes. I thought that this story with Noble was something like a repeat of previous cases, but now I see that I was wrong. I've come to realize that you're nothing but a lowly cheater, and if you hadn't decided to leave me for Noble and cut off your relationship with him, you'd be spreading your legs for some other asshole in 6 months or a year. After thinking about it, I decided that I had to take revenge somehow. What I really want to do is take a thick belt and beat you with it so hard that your skin will tear and you will bleed on the floor. But that will only send me to jail. The only thing I can do to avoid going to jail is to make divorce as difficult and expensive as possible for you. You're right. This is also your home, and if you decide to stay, I have to let you be here. But I don't have to like it, and I don't have to communicate with you. Move your shit to one of the spare bedrooms and stay away from me. I finished my beer and then went upstairs to what used to be our bedroom and got ready for bed. I thought I had accomplished what I set out to do. I gave her something to think about, and she needed to discuss everything with Noble and make decisions, and that would take time. The time Josh uses to serve B and get a restraining order. I could be wrong. Maybe B has already met with a lawyer, and the documents may already be heading my way, but it's unlikely. I took the rest of the invested money when I canceled the credit cards, and they were about what I expected, and when I took the cash from the bank, they also turned out to be about what they should be. If B had gone to a lawyer, she would have used our money to pay him. Of course, Noble could have paid the bill. All I could do was wait and hope that Josh took the paddle first. I got up and left the house before B came out of her bedroom. I went to have breakfast at the Bed and Breakfast Cafe and, sipping coffee, made a list of who to call as soon as B was served. I wasn't going to let her make a bad guy out of me. I will tell everyone about the divorce and explain to everyone why this is so. At work, Stella told me that she was really looking forward to the weekend, and I found myself hoping that this would happen. I met Josh for lunch and signed the papers. He said that after lunch he would go to the city district building and submit an application. Do you still want her to be serviced at work? Damn right, that's right. I think it's about 10 o'clock tomorrow. Call me as soon as it happens. I want the locks in the house changed before she can come home. I went back to work and arranged for the next day off. Before leaving the office, I called the locksmith and arranged for a quick service the next day. It cost me a little more, but I felt it was worth it. When I got home, B's car was parked in the driveway, but she must have decided to stay in her room and stay out of my way, because I never saw her. I got up and left the house before B came downstairs and went to the B&B for breakfast. Angie asked me where B was. I've always seen you together, and you've been here without her for 2 days in a row. You won't see us together anymore. We split the blanket in half. I see, she said, accepting my order. When she put the bill on the table, she said, "My phone number is on the back, not the number of the restaurant. My number." I lost my voice when Angie was leaving. 2 women have let me know in 2 days that they are interested. So why wasn't I enough for the woman I married? I'll never know because I'll never ask. I was drinking coffee and reading the morning paper, waiting for the time when B usually left for work. And then I went home and started packing B's things and moving them to the garage. At 10:15, Josh called me and said that the documents had been delivered, so I called the locksmith, and 20 minutes later he was already doing his job. Less than an hour later, B burst into the driveway. She couldn't help but notice the wide-open garage door and a large cardboard sign that read, "B, all your stuff is here in the garage." She stood there staring at the sign for a minute and then tried to enter the house, but of course her keys didn't work. She rang the doorbell, but I didn't answer, and eventually she left. I looked into the garage and saw that she had taken a couple of bags with her things. 2 minutes after she pulled out of the driveway, my cell phone rang and it was B. "Hello? You're an asshole. Did you have to embarrass me in front of my colleagues? It's better than letting you embarrass me in front of mine. What the hell is this about a restraining order? I was afraid you'd ask Noble to come and beat me up for being rude to you. That's bullshit, and you know it. I need to get into the house and pick up some things. All your stuff is in the garage, B, and I haven't changed the garage door code so your opener will work. If what you need isn't there, make a list and tell me where it is and I'll move it to the garage. Stop fooling around, Rob. You're making it a lot harder than it should be. I'm sorry, B. Causing you some inconvenience is not an adequate payback for the fact that you have been bullying me for years. But I have to do something, at least for the sake of my mental health. Just be grateful that I didn't get violent. Goodbye, B." After I disconnected from B, I got on the phone and started calling all the names on my list. Most were shocked to learn that B had cheated on me, but 2 were not surprised. One said, "Finally got her, huh?" And the other said, "I always had the idea that you had one of those open marriage things. She was always dating some guy and you never said anything about it." I thought I could cross these 2 off my list of friends. B's parents were most hurt by this information and they tried to tell me that I must be wrong. I've always liked them, and they treated me almost like the son they never had. But I wasn't going to let B tell them and turn it around so it was all my fault. If I had let this happen, they would have thought badly of me, and I didn't want that. After solving the phone issues, I went through the house again in search of B's things and then made myself lunch. I had just finished eating when the guys from Apex Security showed up. Not trusting B in the slightest and having absolutely no doubt that she would violate the injunction and try to enter the house, I decided to install a security system in the house complete with cameras. On Thursday at work, I told Stella that we were ready to go for the weekend. She smiled. "Tomorrow night then? Dinner and dancing?" "For starters." I was smiling when I got home. B did exactly what I expected. She took some of her belongings and then entered the house through an adjacent door from the garage. She trashed the kitchen. Plates and glasses were smashed all over the floor, and she broke several lamps in the living room. The cameras captured it all. I was made to smile by the picture of her taking all my clothes out of the closet, dumping them on the floor, and then squatting over them and urinating on them. All this is recorded and indicates that she not only violated the injunction, but also behaved maliciously destructively. Evidence that I could use at the restraining order hearing. I called Josh and he called the police. The police arrived, drew up a report and took some pictures, and the next day B was arrested at work and sent to prison. She was fingerprinted, photographed, and seated in front of a judge. She was charged with violating a restraining order and intentionally destroying private property. The judge set a date for the hearing and released B on her own recognizance. And to be honest, I was surprised that the case had gone so far. My date with Stella was fun, and we set up a second date on Saturday. Everything went well too, and on Sunday we went on a picnic again. The injunction hearing took place on Monday, and when the judge saw the security camera footage, he not only made the injunction permanent, but also ordered B to replace all the destroyed items, pay for dry cleaning of my clothes, and pay for cleaning the bedroom. He gave her 10 days to do it, or she would go to jail for contempt of court. Just to be an asshole, I hired the most expensive cleaning company I could find to do the job. B disappointed me. She actually got the money to do everything the judge ordered. I never waited for her to be put in jail for contempt of court. The next 2 weeks passed and Stella and I dated a lot, but nothing else happened except for a few kisses, sometimes quite intense. because neither of us felt comfortable with the fact that I was a married man, but we were slowly approaching the moment when things seriously turned around. B did not resist the divorce, and after 6 months it was final. It was a standard no-fault divorce, when everything was divided equally. I refinanced the house and bought out part of the B. I was saving money in a separate account to pay for an unexpected round-the-world trip in honor of our anniversary, and since she didn't know about it, I didn't give her a dime. She also didn't know about the last 2 certificates of deposit that I put in the safe. I bought them with my last 2 bonus checks. I had another small victory. B was assigned alimony for 2 years or until she remarried, but it was set at only $100 a week instead of the $500 she was trying to get. It was unexpected, and Josh told me that it was because we were very lucky with the judges who were assigned my cases. The judge who attended the injunction hearing and the judge who oversaw the divorce were not only cousins who apparently discussed their cases, but both had cheating wives in the past. None of them believed that an innocent husband should be punished for the behavior of a cheating wife, and although they followed the law, they did not go one step further than prescribed. Whatever B and Noble had, it obviously wasn't that great, because 7 months after the final divorce, she was living with her parents. It was 8 months after the divorce became final, and I was sitting in a bar at the Hilton drinking beer and eating a steak sandwich for lunch, when someone sat on a stool next to me and a voice asked, "Can I buy you a beer?" I looked back and saw my ex-wife's ex-lover. "I want to have a few words with you," he said. Out of curiosity, I invited him to continue, and he waved to Agnes and ordered us both a beer. She brought them, and he took a sip, put the glass on the counter and looked at it for a few seconds, and then began to remove the label from the first bottle. When the little pile in front of him grew, he said, "I didn't want to screw up because of you." Without taking his eyes off the bottle, he continued, "The night I met her, she wasn't wearing wedding rings, so I didn't know she was married, and she definitely wasn't acting like a married woman. She was at Bud's bar with a group of girls she worked with, and I asked her to dance, and she agreed. I bought her a drink, and she invited me to sit with her and the other girls. I danced with her 3 more times and asked her out, and she agreed. I fell head over heels in love with her, and within a month we were making love whenever we could get together. When we started, we had to use motels because I shared an apartment with 2 roommates, and one of them was always there. We couldn't use her apartment because she said she lived with her disabled mother. It was also the reason why we couldn't see each other more often. She, they say, had to take care of her mother, and could only go out when someone else was available to look after dear old Mom. I finally got my own apartment, so we no longer had to use motels, and although our meetings were irregular, I fell in love with her and was going to ask her to marry me. I was going to buy a house big enough for her mother and me, but before I could ask a question, a guy I knew asked me why I was making love to a cheater. I was ready to kick his ass when he told me that B was married and cheated on her husband, and that it wasn't the first time. It looks like she cheated on you with his brother 2 years before. When his brother found out that she was married, he broke up with her. It was hard for me to believe it, but then I got your letter. I sat on it for a whole week, and then I came face to face with her, and she burst into tears. She didn't love you. It turns out that you were a violent drunk, beat her physically and bullied her mentally. She hated you, but she was afraid to leave you because you told her that if she ever did, you would hunt her down and kill her and whoever she was with. By that time, I checked something and realized that she was lying, and all thoughts of marrying her disappeared. But she was a good girl, and you kicked her out at that time, so I let her move in with me. As long as she was ready to make love to me, everything was fine. But when the divorce was final and she started talking about marriage, I knocked her down. My parents broke up because my mom cheated on my dad. She got custody of me and later remarried, and then she was caught cheating on her second husband. She remarried for the 3rd time and cheated again. I firmly believe in the saying that once a cheater always remains a cheater, and I told B about it. I told her that as long as she feels good about the live as friends with benefits relationship, we're fine, but nothing more. About 3 weeks after that, I came home from work and she wasn't there. He took another sip of beer and said, "There are rumors that you knew all this time that we were doing this with her. Why did you let this go on and not divorce her right away? You said it yourself. She was a damn good girl. I decided to fuck it all. I would leave everything alone and I would have a girl, and there would be someone to cook, clean the house, and do the laundry. Probably everything would have been the same if she hadn't told me that she was leaving me and wanted to get a divorce. He took another sip and then said, I never thought I'd say this, much less to you, but I miss her in my bed. He finished his beer, got up, took something out of his pocket, put it on the counter and pushed it towards me. What is it? That lottery ticket you gave me, it's a winning one. This is your half. I waited before I gave it to you so that you wouldn't have to give her half in the divorce. See you later. And he left. I looked at the paper. It was a cash receipt for a large sum. A very, very large sum. When I returned to the office, Jean, my assistant, said, You look like a cat that just ate a canary. Was the lunch that delicious? The lunch was impressive. Oh, that's right. Jean, my assistant. Stella didn't work for me anymore, at least not in the office. She was at home painting the room that was supposed to be a nursery when the twins arrived.